My name's David Rodwin, and this is some epic bullshit. So, in 4th grade, David Mihawk tried to teach me my left from my right. Everyone already assumed I already knew how to tell them apart, but honestly, I had no idea. We were sitting in the back seat of his mom's station wagon when he turned to me and said, "It's totally easy, just go like this with your hands. One makes an L, the other makes a not L. The L's your left, the not L's your right. It's that simple." So I did that with my hands, and I saw an L and well, they both look like L's to me. Then I thought, just imagine the L in a word and try reading it. But then I couldn't remember which direction I read from. I tried scanning one way, then I tried scanning the other way, but they both seemed perfectly normal to me. And I realized part of the problem was that I was going to Sunday school and reading Hebrew, as well as reading English, and that meant I was reading both this direction and that direction. So I took another hard look at them, and I decided they both looked like L's. It was decades before I realized I was dyslexic. Now, I was never formally diagnosed with dyslexia in school, but the same year that David Mihawk tried to teach me my left from my right, I had a serious problem with the standardized tests. I aced the math tests, perfect score, and my English tests, I failed completely. Everyone was really concerned. My parents met with my principal, and they decided I needed a special test. So I got a one-on-one evaluation for 4 hours with this therapist who administered the whisk test. I still remember feeling like there was something very, very wrong with me and they were trying to figure out what it was. The test was actually kind of fun. There were physical puzzles you had to fix and lots of problem solving. And in the end, they decided I needed to work with a therapist. A speech therapist. Now, the therapist didn't tackle my dyslexia. Instead, she just worked on my lisp. And that was a bit of a challenge because I didn't see any problem with the way I made my F's. You see, in kindergarten, I had a textbook that showed the letter S along with a diagram of a snake, and the snake had its tongue sticking out, so I figured if you want to make an S, be like the snake, stick your tongue out and go. It took the therapist a long while to convince me that the physiology of snakes and the physiology of humans was so different I actually had to adjust things a bit. But why would they put a picture of a snake with its tongue sticking out if they didn't want us to stick out our tongue the same way? I thought the textbook should be removed from that library immediately, but no one else seemed to have a problem. And after about a year, she worked the lisp out of me. But that didn't really explain my low reading scores. But, in the end, frankly, the essays that they gave us that we had to answer questions about were so f***ing boring that I just could not be bothered. You want me to focus? Give me some quality literature. So even though they fixed my lisp, other problems persisted. The most common was that I would see a word and I would flip the letters, making it into a new word. The most embarrassing example of this was in 7th grade science class. Everyone had to read a section from one chapter aloud in class. So when it was my turn, I just buzzed on through, reading something about organisms in the sea and how plentiful they were. And suddenly, midway through, the entire class bursts out into laughter. The teacher's face turns red and she sends me to the principal's office. I have no idea what just happened, but that did not save me from punishment. I later found out that though my eyes had seen the word organisms, my mouth had pronounced the word orgasms. Lots and lots of orgasms. And the teacher didn't take kindly to that. She thought I was being some sort of prankster and trying to disrupt the class, when frankly I was completely oblivious to what was going on. There was just a disconnect between my mouth and my eyes. I still misread signs constantly, and I flip numbers when I'm dialing on the phone. But the one real problem I have to deal with every single day is when I get into my car and I look at my directions and it says to turn right. And I look at my hands, and one of them looks like an L, and one of them also looks like an L. And then someone honks, and I just make a turn. My name's David Rodwin, and this was some epic bullshit.